morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. So we've got a couple new things going on. It's getting pretty close. The weather's starting to turn pretty crappy here in Kansas City, and trying to figure out, the boost knuckles pretty well, sort of buttoned up. I've got a couple little things I got to do this winter. We're going to do a rear end swap in it. We're going to put a Ride Right Designs 9-inch in it and take the stock 10 bolt out. So we'll be doing a video of that here in the near future. I've actually got the Civic and the truck all stored away for the winter, and I'm getting ready to start on a couple new projects here in the garage. So we got rid of the black EK Civic, which I'll put in a little something about that here. Alright guys, so we went to take the Beater to Baller Civic to look at a little S10 to trade for a future project. I've kind of been going back and forth on what I'm going to do with this car. I've had ideas to just keep it, do a little budget build with it. I love this car. I don't know, I hate to get rid of it, but I got other plans and other ideas for other projects, and this one's kind of, since its main purpose was to do like a budget street daily driver, deal with excuse me. But so we go to look at this S10, deal falls through, guy's got the title all messed up. He can't, it's in a way that he can't even really get rid of the car or get rid of the truck. So that was a huge waste of my time, which kind of stunk, but it is what it is. And then I went and looked at another S10. Actually went and looked at a square body S10. The first one was a 99 S10 Extreme white single cab short bed. It was a roller, it didn't have a motor in it, which was going to be good for the project that I was getting into. But yeah, so since that fell through, I went and looked at another one a couple days later, square body S10. It was a little rougher than I anticipated. I didn't want to get into a position where I was just going to have to throw a bunch of money at something to just clean it up to make it feel like it was worth driving. The second one I went and looked at, the interior was just toast. Granted, it was a square body. The body itself was actually in really good shape, but it needed too much work, and with what I was gonna have to put into the interior to try and clean the interior up the way I wanted it to, it was just gonna cost me probably $1,000 just to clean up the interior alone. Outside of that, the truck was awesome. Probably one of the cleaner ones I've seen, especially around these parts in the Midwest. Most of those old square body S10s are just rotten. This one was actually a really solid truck. I just wanted something that was a little cleaner inside that I could get in and not have to worry about the interior. But as of right now, I just got the car back on the Avid One wheels, and I'm going to look at a truck in the morning. Hopefully I can work out a deal with this guy. It's not an S10 this time around, but it is a pretty cool looking little truck. So I'm going to get up in the morning, I'm going to hit the road, and we're going to head to Topeka, Kansas to look at this truck. So we're going to trade it for a couple different trucks. I was trying to find another truck project like the old Whisker Biscuit S10, and I had an opportunity to get the old Ram 50 back, and I decided against that and went and looked at a couple S10s, and nothing really stuck out to me. And then I just randomly found this truck. It was a couple hours away, and I'm going to go ahead and show you what it is. And this is going to be our new project. Mind you, I brought the truck home. It sat here for probably 2 days. I stripped the interior, got everything cleaned and everything in it, and then the weather kind of turned crappy for like a week, and I rolled it in the garage, and then I already started working on it. And at the time, I don't even know I couldn't find my GoPro, and I just went ahead and just started working on it. So I've got the truck up on jack stands, getting ready to start on this build. And here it is. It's a 96 Ford Ranger with a 2.3 in it. It's kind of crammed in here next to my brother's Mustang, which we're gonna start doing some work on this. I'm actually building a 4.8 for it, and we're gonna do a full turbo kit and everything on it as well. But the Ranger, I mean, it's a pretty straight little truck. It's got some dents and dings, pretty much like everything I own. But overall, it's a pretty solid looking truck. We got to do some front suspension mods to it. It's already obviously got wheels, tires on it. We're going to do a new rear end swap in it. But right now, we are setting up to pull the 2.3 out. And we're going to put the old 5.3 from the boost knuckle back when it had the blower set up on it. We're going to put that motor in here along with the Turbo 350 I picked up from a buddy of mine. Supposedly it's been gone through. It's got a shift kit and stuff in it. That's going to be more than enough for what we're doing with this. This is more or less just going to be a cruiser shop truck. You know, something that'll get decent mileage. You know, I'm hoping somewhere in like the mid-20s and still make, you know, hopefully 320, 340 horsepower, you know, depending on what kind of fuel and stuff we use. But I went ahead and I already put new headlights in it. Put these Mad Tight JDM one-piece headlights in it. We're gonna do some, I think, like just some cheap paint match grill and then a paint match bumper on it. You know, just kind of make it all look a little more up to date without all the chrome stuff on it, except for the wheels. Obviously, those are gonna stay. It is a 5-speed truck, so we are putting an automatic in it. But like I said, I gutted all this. The interior was pretty nasty. The carpet was trash, and you know, I just had to take it all out like I always do, because I always detail the interior as soon as I get them, because I just hate that filth and that gross stickiness that I feel from other people being in it. It's weird. But yeah, so I got that all cleaned out. But let me walk over here and show you the 5.3. I bought a new intake. This thing is going to be as budget as possible. Of course, that's how all my stuff is, because I'm cheap. Hey, the boost knuckle. So here is the 5.3. This is, like I said, the old 5.3 out of the boost knuckle. It obviously used to have a supercharger on top of it. Now it does not. I bought this Professional Products LS1 LS6 intake through my work, through one of our dealers at work. They had it on sale. It came with the rails. I'm not a huge fan of these rails. It'll eventually get probably some black ones and then some black braided hose. This was a spare line I had from the old Civic because I didn't like all the clown fittings and stuff that came with this this intake. This 85mm Professional Products throttle body, ironically, we had laying around the shop. It had been sitting in my shop for probably 10 years and nobody knew what it was or what it went to. And I just randomly found that thing sitting up there. But yeah, so the goal with this, I'm hoping that I can leave it in A, put it in the truck, like I said, make 320, 340 horse, and have just a nice little driver, something I can rip around town in, you know, and not be super powerful. It's going to sound pretty rowdy. But yeah, and I've got I found some old injectors out of an old stock intake. I'm getting those cleaned, and then obviously there's not many Ranger trucks that are LS swapped around from what I've seen. If you Google search any of that stuff, I think I've only seen like 3, literally like 3 trucks. There's a guy on YouTube, like A21 Bravo or something like that. He's got a newer style Ranger that's got the better suspension, because this thing's got like the twin I-beam suspension underneath of it, and it's not very sought after. It's kind of trashy. But I know he's got like a 6-liter in his with a turbo, and it's 4-wheel drive, which is pretty cool. And then I've seen another one on YouTube. It's a 5.3 turbo truck. I think it's out west somewhere, like Utah or something. I haven't really seen much about it. There's a couple videos of it, and then I've seen like a random all-motor Ranger that's got some wicked exhaust on it, because supposedly you can't run the exhaust inside the frame rails. For whatever reason, I assume maybe it's just the frame's too narrow. I mean, it's hard to tell. It's probably a little more narrow than the S10 frames, and the S10 frames are tight. But the one I've seen that's got the wicked exhaust, he put like turbo manifolds facing forward and then like 180'd the exhaust and then ran it outside the frame rails, and I really don't want to do that. So I want to keep it in A, but if it gets to a point where there's a huge issue trying to get the exhaust to work, and you know, if there's going to be a lot of fab work required to make a, you know, just an exhaust with headers or shorties or whatever work, then there's a good possibility I may set it up for turbo or something, or set it up in a way to where it will accept the turbo. Like I thought about buying some cheap manifolds, facing them forward, like, you know, for turbo stuff, and then maybe just doing like a Y pipe and kicking a fender exit out of it, putting a muffler in there, and then just doing a fender exit. You know, it'd be in A, so it kind of sucked because everybody would think it's fast and it's not. But my plan was not to turbo this truck, but I mean, like I said, it just depends on where we go with it and how well things fit in it, and obviously the level of fabrication and stuff that needs to go into it to make things work. You know, if it's just as easy to do a turbo setup versus trying to just make a factory exhaust system work, then we may end up going a different route with it. But anyways, I don't know. Right now, I mean, that's kind of where we're at. I just got to get the motor and stuff up out of it, and then I can start, you know, I've got the stock torque converter for the Turbo 350, which I'm just going to try and use that for now, just to get me by. I'll get it bolted to the motor, or get the motor bolted to the tranny, and then I'll get it set down in there, try and figure out mounts. I'll have to custom fab mounts because there's nothing available for the swaps for these. Like I said, there's only like 3 of them out there, at least that are widely known, and we'll just have to slowly chip away at this. We will have to build a fuel system. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet, but I'm going to try and reuse a lot of old parts. You know, I've got the old Walbro 450 that came from South Bay, fuel injectors that I had in the boost knuckles old setup. We're going to put that in the tank, and then, like I said, I've got some old fuel injectors. I've got a South Bay fuel regulator and all that stuff I can put on it. I mean, I've got most everything that I need to get it in the truck and running, aside from motor mounts, drive shaft, and just, you know, some fab work for the exhaust and intake, and you know, I've got a spare radiator, just a bunch of old random parts. So I mean, it's going to be as cheap as possible. That's kind of what this is. I've even got the old Phytech system off the boost knuckle when I went to Holly Terminator eggs. I'm probably just going to throw the old Phytech on this thing too. So anyways, that's just more or less a rundown of the new project and kind of where we're headed with this thing. So keep following along, keep looking for updates on this, keep looking for updates on the boost knuckle, and we'll see you guys later.